Welcome back to the Op Manager Plus training. Today, let us talk about the reports and dashboards for the entire Op Manager Plus. Let's talk about the reports now. When we talk about reports in Op Manager Plus, this is the best place where you can take the reports for the entire set of Op Manager, applications, NetFlow, NCM, OpUtils, Firewall, and all of these devices in-depth reporting right from this one single place under this reports tab. So when we talk about the Op Manager, the one which can give you the performance data using the SNMP or WMI or CLI credentials, you would be able to find all of these kind of reports where you can just check on the health and performance of those devices, availability and response of those devices, let's say health and performance. So you would be able to see how the volumes have performed, how the servers have performed in terms of health, how the routers and switches have performed in terms of the entire health status. So let's talk about server health report. You would be able to see the availability, packet loss, response time, disk utilization, CPU and memory utilization all in one single report. So you can have these filters, export options and more actions to schedule these reports as well. When we talk about filter, so you can have these common filters across all reports in Op Manager Plus. So either you can just choose different categories of devices, you can filter the devices by the groups or business views you've created, filter them by period or when do you want the report for, and based on the business hour as well. This is how you fetch a report in the Op Manager module. Alright, so next we'll talk about availability and response reports. So any of these reports, let's say you want to know the devices by the packet loss, how these devices are performing in terms of packet loss. And now you can see the top 10 where you wanted to see all of these, you would be able to do that with the filter. All of the devices which is monitored based on the packet loss. So you would be able to get that possible. You want to export them, you can export them either PDF or Excel, or let's say you wanted to go ahead and then export them in an Excel, you can do that right here again, or you wanted to schedule them, as said, you can do that right here. So you also would be able to get the availability report right here, and there are a few other reports like inventory reports, virtual server reports. So you would be able to get the VMware details right here, or the Hyper-V information, storage based reports, forecast reports where you would be able to know how the CPU, memory and disk have been forecasted. So let's say CPU forecast. So how is it currently being used? What's the prediction of 80%, 90%, 100%, and how long does it take for this particular device to reach to that level? You can have the forecast reports predicted with the help of these memory, CPU and disk data. You have all other few reports where you can also see advanced reports where you can mix and match multiple information in one single report. So far we have seen the availability ones, the health and performance ones. So how do you mix them both in one single report? Just you name the report, say server's performance, let's say all of that, you want the entire report. So where you would be able to see the general properties, you can just check the device name, let's take what category they fall into, let's take the DNS name, let's take the IP address of the device, and probably let's take an availability matrix. Let's take availability percentage, and let's take the CPU, the memory and the disk utilization, the partition information. So all of these, if you want them into one single report, you can just pick and choose what are the metrics you want from these columns, and then you can group them by column. You can just apply a couple of criteria, like say if the device name or if the status or the availability state equals something, only then I want those devices in the report. And filter by period, like how you want the data to be shown for which time period, you can just get that done, and you can just save or preview that. Once the preview data is perfect, probably then you would be able to save the report or edit the report further. So that's your advanced report then. So then you have got your scheduled reports where you can add a new schedule, and then probably you can just schedule the reports right from here or at the place of more actions as we discussed earlier. So this is about your Op Manager reports, wherein you do also see the applications reports right here, where you can just see the application server reports. Either it can be for any of the applications we have mentioned earlier, be it a JBoss application, .NET application, any kind of application we're talking about. In-depth reports of your health, at a glance view, availability reports, thread details, session details, throughput information. Or you wanted to check on the capacity planning of undersized oversized servers, some of the cloud applications, anything on the EUM, anything on the forecast of these data of disk database. You would be able to wanted to check it. You can do that right here. You wanted to get the reports based on the monitor groups, or you want something on the trend analysis report of how the trend is on this particular database, or how that is off on a particular server. You would be able to get the complete information of how that particular server is behaving, or a trend analysis of an application. You can get that. Anything on the virtualization of web servers, you would get all of these reports right here. When we talk on the NetFlow reports, you get to see a report profile which you can create and use them for multiple reports. You get to see the forensic report to understand the raw data. In-depth analysis of your traffic and bandwidth, you would be able to get them from a forensic reports. Consolidated reports can give you based on an interface, IP group, or any of these groups you have created. Let's say it's an interface. Per interface, you want to check on the consolidated report on the utilization level on all of these for, let's say, last 24 hours. So you would be able to have a consolidated information in one single report. So you can just take the data points as one data point 5 or 15, and then you would be able to see the application in and out, the source in and out, the destination in and out, all of these in one single place. It's called your consolidated report. To know the capacity planning report, again, any of these sources, you would be able to take any of the sources and you would be able to get the report for today, or let's take it for yesterday, and then check how the capacity planning can help us. So how it is performing in the last one day, how the growth of an application is. So based on that, you can plan your capacity on that particular resource, on that particular interface, or you can compare reports based on multiple sources for the same period. So you want to know how this interface worked or another interface worked on the same day, or the same interface, how it have been behaved in two different time periods. You wanted to check that. Both is possible and you would be able to do that. And you do have forecast reports here as well, and you have billing reports as well. Probably you have to check about how your ISP is giving you a bill, and you wanted to monitor the same interface and you wanted to create a bill on your own and check how that works. Probably you can just check the bill based on the currency, the volume, the cost which you have to provide based on each Mbps being used, and anything on the additional cost and volume. Probably you can create, and then it can help you schedule the bill for every month and let you know how much you have got to pay for this usage on your interfaces. So that's how your NetFlow reports would help you with. The next we'll talk about NCM reports. NCM reports are nothing but where you would be able to understand how the hardware is performing, how your firmware of that particular network device is, or like say you wanted to check on the health status, you wanted to know about the audit reports of a device, say how that particular device is performed in terms of auditing each and every action which is done on the device. So you would be able to do that right here. So backup status of the network devices, how many devices have been backed up success, backed up failure, and not being backed up. So you get to have that based on the groups you have created on the NCM. Startup running conflict reports, configuration changes, how the configuration changes have been there for the last 7 days or any time period we talk about. So custom time period or yesterday, anything as such. So how that is, devices, how many devices are with the configuration changes yesterday, how many of them are without any changes in the last 24 hours, yesterday. So you can just check that. You have trend of the configuration changes, when and how the changes were made, how many changes as authorized, unauthorized counts. You get to see the EOL, EOS report of end of life, end of support for the devices. You get to have a complete information on the security audit report. So you get to see a complete audit information, a security audit information of a particular device. This report is generated by its own, and then it can let you know how the rating of that particular issue is. We find the issue, we help you with the issue impact, issue ease, and then the recommendation for those issues on each and everything. So here you find the software vulnerabilities, the finding and the impact, ease and recommendation, and the password complexity or the length which is configured on the device, and about its finding, impact, ease and recommendation, Likewise, we give you a complete security audit report as well. So that is how it can help you with. The next, you have a couple of more reports on the CVE ID reports, firmware vulnerability versions report, configuration reports, PCI reports, and much more on the NCM. So the next, we'll talk about firewall reports. So the firewall reports can give you a detailed information of how your firewall has been behaving in terms of firewalls, in terms of VPN reports, or you would be able to see the policy rule report. Say you wanted to know what the policy overview is, optimization, cleanup, reorder recommendations. You want administration on the rules, like say you wanted to add a new rule, edit, modify your rule, those things, and a security audit report of a particular devices, audit logs. All of these also can be done in the same UI under the OPM Plus. So as all you know, the OpUtils reports is also seen right here. So unused IP addresses, usage summary, the switches by its usage, the switch ports, stacked port details, connected IP details to a switches, what switch, which port. All of these can be configured. Get them as scheduled, or you can filter them as per your requirement in the entire OPM Plus. So under one single tab as reports, you get to have your entire network and servers and virtual environment, storage environment of your organization. Put them into one single place for your ease, and that's the power of Op Manager Plus reports. The same way, you would also be able to have a detailed instruction on how the dashboards can help you right under the dashboards section. So you get to see the network dashboard, which is predefined and ready already for you. So you get to see the network dashboards, server dashboards, virtualization dashboards, storage, NetFlow, NCM, firewall, IPAM. All of these dashboards are already built in for you, which can give you a complete information about how that particular data is helpful for you in your organization to take decisions. So that's right here. In case you want to create your new dashboard, create a new dashboard. Say you want to see about the overall performance and health maybe. So if that's your report which you wanted to look for, you have all of these widgets readily available. You can just check them right here and then add them to one single dashboard. Say you want to know all the alarms, what are the devices being down, and let's say what are the services which are currently down. Let's say what are the availability and health of applications, and let's say you wanted to also know the devices availability, downtime, packet loss response time, and let us talk about a couple of more things. Let's say active VPN users currently, and let's say what are the device list in the firewall's live traffic, security events happening, and top cloud users, top cloud applications, and let's say few more informations like you want to get the business group, your 3D groups, and let's say your flow details. Let's also check on the health and performance of your devices, CPU, memory based information, and let's talk about the interface information on interfaces by the traffic utilization, by bandwidth utilization of the last n hour, IP availability summary, and let us say top 10 groups with or top 10 subnets by occupied IPs, top 10 groups by occupied IPs, NCM. Let's say we want the complaint summary, the backup summary, the EOL announced devices, high vulnerable devices, and let us talk about few more information right here about the cluster summary of the Nutanix, and NFA is about how application attacks conversation, device summary, real-time of your flap summary, real-time traffic, real-time alarms, and let's say a couple of RAID summaries and few more information of the storage overview. Let's say all of these you wanted to have them in one single dashboard. That's when you create and allocate which user is supposed to have access to this dashboard and then create it. So once your dashboard is ready, so you get to have all of these widgets readily available which can populate data right immediately there, and anytime you can just drag and drop however you wanted to place them wherever you wish to see them, save them, and probably you can just resize or reshape them, and it can keep it in its memory. And all of these dashboards you want them to put into a knock screen. That is your knock screen right here. You create your own knock screen and then add any number of dashboards you want. So let's say it's one Knox screen I'm creating, and then let's say you've got all of these dashboards, which is by default. So you have your custom dashboard which we created, and then let's say how often that data has to populate, every 30 seconds, 1 minute, or up to 10 minutes, let's say 30 seconds. So you can add any of these dashboards and also create one Knox view, and then get to the Knox, and this link can be shared right with anybody, so that without even having a user login access to the Op Manager Plus, they can just use them in the Knox screen's URL as a URL, and then they probably can use it. So when you get into the Knox view, you would be able to see the Knox screen entirely right here, and you would be able to have them, changed every often as we selected, say 30 seconds. So you would be able to see the timer on the top right. So after 30 seconds of time, it will move up to the next set of data would be populated in the Knox screen automatically. So you have got both your day mode and the night mode readily available, so which you can see, make use of, and these Knox screens can give you an overall picture of your entire organization from the Op Manager Plus. So after the 30 seconds are over, you can see the next set of data is being populated right here, and that's your Knox screen. So this is what your Op Manager Plus reports and dashboards is all about, where you can have the entire set of information which is collected from your organization can be put into one particular point under the dashboards, or you gain that as reports and schedule them and get them as your favorite reports as well. This is all about your Op Manager Plus reports and dashboards. Thank you for watching.